Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason and I am your watch guy today, and I am so glad to be able to show you the top portion of my face in today's video, not just this lower half. Today I'm reviewing a piece from one of my favourite micro brands. This is definitely in my top 3 at the very least, if not my favourite. It's coming from SWC, or Swiss Watch Company. Now, they have a fantastic history in the watch market, and ever since they've been releasing their own pieces onto the market, I've been a massive fan, and it's easy to see why. They're a family-led company. They make incredible watches, and they don't charge the air for them. In fact, I go as far to say that this is one of the best priced watches on the micro brand market at the moment. And I challenge you to find me a better deal. I'd love to see that, because if there's a better deal out there, I also need to review that. Now, this one has been sent to me by SWC. However, this is a fully impartial review, and I don't think they'd have it any other way, if I'm completely honest. Now, this is a fantastic watch. It's finished incredibly, and the specs are up there with some of the best that we see at this price. So let me turn this camera around and let me introduce you to the SWC Hyper G. Now, I have had the pleasure to review a good handful of SWC's work, from their field watches to their sports watches. However, this one has got to be the best that I have seen from them, and it's really just an absolute spec monster for the price that it is. Speaking of price, on their website at the moment is $565. Now, this piece, I think, pound for pound, is one of the best micro brands on the market. But I'm not just going to leave that statement there. Let me explain to you why. First of all, let's talk about the dimensions of this. It's a very wearable 40.5 millimeters in diameter. A lot of us will like that size. An incredibly thin 10.5 millimeters thick, and yes, this is automatic. Lug to lug, the piece comes in at 47.2 millimeters on my calipers. These lugs come in at 22 millimeters, and they sit with this leather band very nicely. It's packed with a Sellita SW200 movement, not just packed with a Swiss automatic high beat movement. This is actually regulated in-house by SWC, and they regulate it to chronometer levels. It is not chronometer certified. However, it is regulated to their levels at +6 to -4 seconds per day, which alone makes this an incredible piece for the price. But they haven't stopped there. You're looking at the piece and you're thinking, it's really well finished. And I'd agree, it is a beautiful looking watch, but it's not stainless steel. And you're probably thinking, with that reflective surface, that polish, high polish, what else could it be? This is actually grade 5 titanium, and it is coated with a scratch resistant 1000 Vickers hardness coating. It's absolutely fantastic, this casing. I think they've really gone levels above what plenty of other brands are on the market at the moment in their price range. It all comes in at a fantastic 56 grams. And I've got to tell you, that lightweight piece with these dimensions just makes this watch an absolute pleasure to wear on wrist. It's an everyday wear for myself. I think that it suits so many different situations. As well as that, it looks absolutely beautiful on wrist. The chamfered edges along the case and the high polish against that really nicely brushed, circular brushed lugs really do differentiate the finishing very nicely, and it accents the case so well. I find myself looking at the finishing of this watch more than I actually find myself looking at the time. It's just an absolute pleasure to look at, and the high polish in this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. We have a horizontal brush finish to the sides of the casing. Over to this right hand side here, you can see we have a screw down crown. It has a good level of grip. First position is for that date window down at the 6 o'clock. Very nicely sat on that dial gives a nice level of symmetry, flows through the dial very nicely. If we're going to have a date window, I think that's the ideal placement for this one. Second is for this very broad, almost Flieger style handset. Definitely can't mistake those really wide white hands, and finished very elegantly with the stainless steel borders on this handset. This watch is secured with a screw down case back. You can see there has the usual information around the outer edge of this one. A really interesting part of these specifications is that soft iron movement shell. Now, let me explain to you what that means. It's actually the outer casing to the SW200 movement that's packed in the back of this watch, and it gives it a level of anti-magnetism as well as giving it a little bit of shock value. I think it's a really nice added extra to this piece, and not something that we think of, not something that a watchmaker would really think of, as it's not something aesthetically that you see, and it's really something that they could have missed out. But SWC aren't like that. They like to go the whole way. We have a flat sapphire crystal in this piece, and it is aided with 16 layers of AR coating, which really does help in the visibility of the dial. And this is definitely one of those watches that you can really mistake it for not actually having a crystal at all. I think that they really do play that well, especially with how beautiful this dial is. You really want to see that as much as possible. This casing provides the watch with 100 meters of water resistance, and I think for this style, this type of piece, this sports style watch, I think that's a very acceptable level of water resistance. Screw down crown, screw down case back. I definitely trust this one with a little bit of light water exposure. As we move into the dial, you can see that's an absolutely beautiful sunburst slate grey dial. They do have different colour options for this piece. Personally, I think that this one just suits the watch so well, and I'm glad that I got this one in. They do have more colourful pieces if that is what you are into, if that's what your type of style is. They do also have that to add into their arsenal. The dial is very playful with the light. Around the outer edge, we've kept it very simple from SWC. We have Arabic numerals on the inner side of the dial, very bold, and they are loomed. Now, I will get to that loom shot very shortly, and that is definitely one that you will be impressed by. Up until 12 o'clock, we have the Swiss Watch Company logo, followed by their text. It is slightly playful, the logo, the text anyway. Down at the 6 o'clock, we have automatic, followed by that date window. Swiss made either side of the 6 o'clock indice. Around the outer edge of the dial, we have this minute track, which is in a train track style. I think that gives it an almost vintage type of aesthetic to it, almost in the style of the 60 Omegas or the Railmasters. I think that's a very nice touch, very legible, very easy to read, and that's exactly what this watch is. It is simple, but over the top in specifications. It's really as unsimplified as a simple watch can get, I think. Right, let me turn the lights out and let's get into this loom shot. And this is where SWC really blows away a lot of their competition in this price range. What you're looking at here is 22 layers of grade X1 Super Luminova, Swiss Super Luminova. When I say SWC do things right, they do things right. They do it to the best of their ability. They do it to the best standard they possibly can for the price range that they are playing in, and that's what they've done here. We can't fault this loom shot. We really can't. And for the price range, it honestly, at this price range, it blows Seiko out of the water. And that's not an easy feat. Given the price, given the legibility, given the style of the watch, I've got to give this one a 10. And it's probably the easiest 10 that I am ever going to give to a watch for a loom shot. I could stare at this all day. Well, all night even. Moving from the head of the watch onto the band that this is supplied with. These watches are supplied on a leather band, a genuine leather band. Usual levels of adjustment to those bands. I think that I wear this on the lowest level, so 6.25-inch wrists. If you are lower or smaller than that, then this could be a tricky one. You may have to switch the band out. Really nice levels of stitching along the outer edge, nice stylized ends here. I really do like that. It does fit the motif of the watch very well. 2 leather keepers, and to finish this all off, we have this titanium clasp, which actually has really nice levels of brushing and the polished chamfered edges, just like we see on the case. They spared no thought on this watch. They have obviously put every little speck of time that they could manage into the production of this piece and tried to perfect it as much as they possibly could before releasing it into the world. And I think that that's something that a lot of brands can really learn from, because I don't think I've ever had a bad production piece from Swiss Watch Company. I'm going to get this on wrist and show you how it looks on my 6.25-inch wrists. Now, the fit to this watch is just easy. I don't know any other way to explain it, but it's a pleasure to wear. It's one of those watches that adds to your day without taking anything away. It's something that you can forget that you have on wrist at times, but every time you catch a glimpse of it, it just fills you with joy. It's fantastic, and I've really enjoyed it. I got this one. It was shipped to me just before Christmas, and it was like an early Christmas present from SWC. It's been an absolute joy to wear on wrist. It's been an absolute joy to work with this company. And if there's one company that I really do hope I continue to have a really good relationship with, it's them. Because they are going to do really, really special things in the future. I just love being along for the ride, if I'm completely honest. So you're going to ask where the downsides for this piece are. Well, I guess it's not the most imaginative piece. No, it does look similar to a lot of things that we see on the market nowadays, especially the vintage aesthetic watches that are released by certain brands, very Longines-esque. However, can we really take away from them for that? They've made a watch that looks exceptional, with an exceptional dial, but simplified it. And I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. A slight moan for myself, the crown isn't the easiest to get hold of, isn't the easiest to use. But by no means is it difficult. And honestly, I'm being so bloody pedantic right now. I'm looking at this watch, thinking to myself, I've got to think of a moan. Otherwise, they're going to think that I'm lying about everything. So, yeah, the crown is not the best one in the world, but pretty good. One moan that I have seen from other reviews or other people in the community is that the logo isn't exactly the most luxurious. It's a little bit playful, as I did mention. Doesn't bother me, personally. I think it's exceptional, the watch as a whole. I really don't think you can go wrong spending $565 on this piece. I also can't think of much better on the market in terms of specifications. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments if you can, and I'd love to know, because if there is something out there with a better spec sheet for less of a price or the same price, I'd love to see that too. But for now, I think that this is probably pound for pound one of the best in that market. I'm going to start this outro with a thank you to SWC. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with you guys again, and honestly, I still absolutely love the entire dynamic of your watch brands. I feel like I enjoy their brand and their dynamic just as much as I enjoy their watches, and when it all comes together, it just works so well. Guys, please just keep doing what you're doing. If you would like to pick one of these pieces up or view any of their other watches that are available, I have a link in the description that will take you to their website. They also have another new release on the market, which is the SWC Arc GMT. I'd absolutely love to see one of them. They look fantastic, and I've seen a few reviews, a little bit jealous of those reviewers. On a side note, down in the description, you will also find a link to my own personal website, my own personal online store. You can pick up any watches that I am looking to resell on there, any of my old review pieces, any of my personal collection I'm looking to move on, and plenty of other stock as well as that. Definitely worth having a look, get yourself a little bit of a bargain. Thank you for watching this one, guys. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. The button is just down there. It'd be rude not to if you got to this point, really, wouldn't it? And we're all about manners here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.